Hollywood, a realm of cinematic dreams and glittering stars, has found itself locked in a real-life drama that rivals anything ever written for the screen. Once a fortress of untouchable glamour, it now feels like it's crumbling under the weight of its own contradictions. Studios are collapsing, streaming platforms are drowning in red ink, and those at the heart of the industry, its actors, directors, and creators, are spinning in a vortex of chaos. But amidst all this turbulence, few sagas have captured the public's imagination, quite like the fiery battle between Robert De Niro and Warner Brothers. For those unfamiliar with the tale, Robert De Niro, the cinematic titan synonymous with mob bosses and hard-edged anti-heroes, has found himself at odds with the very system that elevated him to stardom. At the core of this dispute lie two high-profile Warner Brothers projects. De Niro, poised to reprise roles that seemed tailor-made for his signature intensity, was set to pocket a staggering $40 million from the two films. His brooding charisma and no-nonsense gravitas were enough to anchor the studio's hopes for blockbuster success. Yet, just as the light seemed ready to shine once more on the living legend, everything unraveled. Warner Brothers made a shocking announcement. De Niro was out. The studio severed ties, effectively putting both projects into limbo. For an actor of his caliber, the dismissal was more than a professional setback. It was a blow to his legacy. Questions immediately arose. Was this a routine creative dispute? A contract snag? The reality, as it turned out, was far murkier and more explosive. De Niro didn't hesitate to speak his truth. According to him, the firing was a direct response to his politics. Outspoken as ever, De Niro has long been known for his fiery critiques of public figures, particularly former President Donald Trump. His unfiltered remarks, often delivered with the same smoldering energy he brings to his roles, have garnered both applause and outrage. Now, he claims, his willingness to speak out has made him a target. Warner Brothers, he alleged, caved under pressure from groups offended by his bold opinions. The actor painted a picture of a Hollywood bowing to external forces, willing to sacrifice artistic freedom for appeasement. The studio, however, had its own version of events. Insiders insisted that De Niro's political beliefs weren't the issue. It was the delivery. The actor's relentless commentary, they claimed, had crossed a line, alienating key demographics and causing headaches for the studio's PR machine. For Warner Brothers, it wasn't about silencing a voice, but avoiding a wildfire. The distinction, though, did little to quell the flames of public debate. De Niro, for his part, remained unrepentant. His speeches and interviews grew more impassioned, more pointed. He likened the political moment to dark chapters in history, warning that complacency could lead to catastrophe. He pulled no punches in his disdain for Trump, drawing comparisons to authoritarian figures with a conviction that made headlines as much as it ruffled feathers. The fallout extended beyond one actor's career. De Niro's feud with Warner Brothers became a flashpoint in Hollywood's broader reckoning. The industry, already fractured by labor disputes, changing audience habits, and cultural shifts, now found itself grappling with the limits of personal expression versus public accountability. De Niro's case begged a deeper question. Where is the line between an artist's voice and a studio's brand? As the drama played out in courtrooms and public forums, the stakes grew clearer. For Warner Brothers, the decision to part ways with De Niro could either be seen as an act of pragmatism or a dangerous precedent of corporate overreach. For De Niro, the fallout threatened to overshadow a legacy built on decades of cinematic brilliance. Yet, true to form, he refused to back down, his defiance echoing the resilient characters he so often portrayed. Beyond the immediate battle, the saga illuminated a Hollywood in transition. The days of untouchable stars and ironclad studios are fading, replaced by a more volatile landscape where every word, every decision can reverberate across the globe in an instant. For better or worse, this new reality demands accountability from everyone involved. But it also raises the specter of creative self-censorship. In this high-stakes game, there are no clear winners yet. The projects De Niro left behind remain in limbo, the studio's reputation is under scrutiny, and the actor himself continues to divide public opinion. What's undeniable is that this clash isn't just about one man or one studio. It's a reflection of a cultural moment where entertainment and ideology collide in ways that redefine the rules. Robert De Niro had always been a man of gravity, his mere presence on screen capable of pulling audiences into the orbit of any story he chose to tell. In Hollywood, he was a legend, someone who didn't just act but embodied his characters, whether they were mob bosses, boxers, or deeply flawed men grappling with their demons. But lately, his off-screen life seemed to echo the kind of turmoil usually reserved for a Scorsese script. De Niro, it seemed, had found himself in the crosshairs of an industry where drama wasn't confined to the screen. The trouble began with two Warner Bros. Projects, mob-centric films that felt tailor-made for his iconic glare and weathered gravitas. The roles would have brought De Niro a hefty $40 million payday, further solidifying his place as one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors. Yet, just as production was gearing up, the studio made a stunning decision. De Niro was out. The announcement sent shockwaves through the industry, raising questions about what had gone wrong. Warner Bros. Claimed it was a matter of professionalism. De Niro's recent behavior, they argued, had sparked public backlash and posed too great a risk in today's volatile media landscape. Rumors swirled that De Niro had demanded a significant pay increase, reportedly $60 million for the two films, along with higher residuals. The studio, already grappling with bloated budgets, saw his demands as untenable. But the real controversy wasn't about numbers, it was about words. De Niro's outspoken political views had always been a double-edged sword. His fiery critiques of figures like Donald Trump had earned him admiration from some and ire from others. He didn't mince words, often likening modern politics to the darkest chapters of history. "There's no honor in people who don't keep their word," he had said in one interview, his voice heavy with disdain. "Even gangsters have a code." For De Niro, his firing was more than a professional setback. It was personal. He accused Warner Bros. Of bowing to public pressure, of allowing his political beliefs to influence their decision. He wasn't about to go quietly. Instead, he filed a lawsuit against the studio and its CEO, David Zaslav, alleging that his dismissal was politically motivated and had sabotaged his career. He demanded damages for the $40 million he would have earned and launched a public campaign to tell his side of the story. In true De Niro fashion, he approached the battle with unrelenting vigor. He lined up appearances on talk shows and podcasts, including Howard Stern, where he planned to deliver scathing monologues and paint himself as a victim of corporate censorship. It wasn't just about the money, it was about principle, about standing up to what he saw as a chilling trend in Hollywood: the silencing of dissent. Warner Bros., meanwhile, stood firm. They maintained that the decision was purely professional, rooted in the risks posed by De Niro's increasingly polarizing remarks. But behind closed doors, the studio was scrambling. The two films De Niro had been slated to star in were now in jeopardy. One faced severe budget cuts, the other teetered on the brink of being scrapped entirely. Replacing De Niro proved to be an impossible task. How do you fill the shoes of a man whose name alone could carry a movie? The fallout didn't stop there. Industry insiders whispered that De Niro's former co-stars had been advised to distance themselves from him, a classic Hollywood maneuver when reputations turn radioactive. For De Niro, the isolation was salt in the wound, a painful reminder of how quickly the industry could turn its back. Beyond the personal drama, De Niro's feud with Warner Bros. Underscored a larger tension within Hollywood. The industry was in the midst of a seismic shift, where streaming wars, public opinion, and financial pressures were forcing studios to rethink everything. In this climate, even a legend like De Niro wasn't immune to the fallout. For Warner Bros., the decision to part ways with De Niro was a calculated gamble. They may have avoided one controversy, but they sparked another, a storm that threatened to overshadow the very films they had hoped to protect. For De Niro, the fight was far from over. The legal battle could stretch on for years, and repairing his public image might take even longer. But if there's one thing we know about Robert De Niro, it's that he doesn't shy away from a fight. Whether he's facing off against a studio or stepping into the role of a mob boss, he tackles every challenge with the same unrelenting determination. This saga, messy and dramatic, feels like it could be the plot of one of his films. And just like in the movies, the next act promises to be just as gripping as the last.